Welcome everyone to TAM Lab 92 in EMEA. Today's topic is REST API use cases with vRealize products Vrops, Vera, and vRNI. We have Ramazan from Turkey, who's one of our senior technical account managers, who will walk you through a few demonstrations. And if TAM customers are watching this recording and you have ideas for any sessions, please reach out to your TAM and get your ideas submitted and have a TAM Lab on this. And with this, I will stop sharing my screen and hand it over to you, Ramazan.
Thank you, Tina. Let me share my screen and then let's start the session. Thank you everyone for joining today's call. Today, I'll briefly talk about the REST APIs and how we can leverage the REST APIs of our vRealize product family. So the first thing I want to share with you the agenda itself. And first, we're going to see the REST methods, API methods of VROps, and we're going to work on one custom case. And this is creating custom groups in VROps. And we will use two methods for this, Postman and PowerShell. And we will find out how we can actually turn our Postman collection, or let's say Postman methods, into PowerShell code blocks. And the second one will be about network insight, and we are going to create applications using using Postman and PowerShell, and of course leveraging the REST API of network insight. And last but not least, we will find out how we can actually get events from vRealize login site using REST API. So let me first start with the API of VROps. So if you have the VROps FQDN, right, and if you put that suffix suite API, you reach out to this vRealize Operations Manager API, and in this page you have a bunch of methods and explanations of it, response and request bodies of all the methods, and it will guide you through the REST API. And if you want to search some method, and this will be actually the first method that we are going to use for the VROps today, and just put the name, just put the word here in the search bar, and you will find out actually maybe one or two methods, and you can find the one you wanted. And we can have body, or you can have bodiless methods. But for this token one, we need the body, and in this body, we're actually defining our credentials. So let's switch to vRops interface and play with it. So here is the vRops interface, right? And I'm just clicking this one. Let me hide the meeting consoles. Yeah, now I'm okay. So if you copy this and put suite API, and let's see, like this, you'll reach the API interface. And this with 8.2, we have this Swagger option. So with this Swagger interface, this is really nice and usable. So let's put token, and it will guide you through this. And we have the auth collection, and inside of auth collection, we got the token ACAR method. So with these informations, I mean, we can actually go and create custom groups for VROps. So first thing, we need the token, right? And to actually use the other methods of VROps. So in this way, we are getting token here. After that, we need another method. So create custom group method. So, and for this, and we can actually here write groups, and this is not related to authentication, but this is related to resources. So we need to create a custom group, and here's our methods. So create new custom group definition, and if you can use this suffix at the end of the suite API URL, and if you define your request body and we have application XML or JSON, but I'm using application JSON all the time because this is more user-friendly and the popular thing. So I'm actually preferring this one. And this will get you an example and sample request body. You can copy this, you can play with it, and you can use this request body in your custom group creation method. So as you know, all the methods related to post is the creating some objects, not just verbs for the other APIs as well. So let's jump to Postman side and see how we are leveraging the REST API with Postman. Actually, I just created a collection for our demo, and I just give a name, get token. As I said, I've just copied the URL and REST API and add the rest of the method itself, API or token acquire. So this is one thing. And we need sometimes headers. Some headers we need sometimes, but maybe we don't need sometimes, but here we need it. So I'm using that. I'm saying that accept application JSON formats and content type will be application JSON and UTF-8. And this is one thing. And the second thing, and the most important thing, is the credentials itself. You know, we got the request body from here. This is the same one. Let's jump back to token. And I just want to show exactly how it is. Let's switch to application JSON. Yes, you see that username, password, and authentication source is the important parameters here in that request body. And if you switch back to here, and I defined the username, password, and I have not defined any source because this is local credentials of mine. So I'm gonna use these credentials to get the token. So if I click send here, this will directly provide me the token that I am going to use for the other methods in the VROps itself. If you click this token, and because we will use this in the create custom groups methods. So this is the first thing we will do while we are actually leveraging the REST API. You should first get the token. And second thing, the methods, the thing you want to do to select the methods according to your needs. So in this case, I'm gonna create custom groups. So this was a case for one of my customers. I mean, you can easily go and create just 1 or 2, let's say, or 10 custom groups. But when it comes to hundreds of custom groups, it is becoming a problem. So let's say you have created them. How are you gonna edit them? If you need something, how are you gonna, update them? If you forgot something while you're doing. So this is, and here REST API comes into play and helps us to provide that automatic creation of custom groups. And we saw that for custom groups. Let's switch to methods here. This is not, again, yeah, this is the post method of create custom group definition. And, you know, we are going to add this suffix. And after all, we need that body and authentication. That's all. So with this information, we can create custom groups easily. So let's just look headers first. And you're aware that content type and exec we have defined in the get token method. But we're using different header here, authorization, that will actually authenticate our method while actually integrating with the REST API. So to define this, you should provide the name vRealize ops token at the beginning, and then the space, and you can actually you can actually paste your token that you got in the first method. So I just copied it and pasted it. This can be parameterized for the future users, but I'm just, I just want to show how we are doing. So we got the authorization, we got the suffix, API, resources, groups, and we got the body of course, the body is not the same. I just, I played it a little bit, but this can be changed according to your needs. So let's just quickly, investigate what we are doing here. Name. So this is actually the name while you're, defining a custom group name. And the adapter kind key is the container, will be the container all the time, because we are using the custom groups under the container adapter. And we are, as you know, we are defining an container type for the custom groups. In this case, I'm using a default container type environment, but you can create your own types, and you can use that types while creating custom groups. So this will be the container, and this will be the environment, and my custom group prod VMs will be created in the under the environment, and that's it. There is just simple but important parameter here: auto resolve membership. If you don't click that box in while creating custom group, let me show you how what I am talking about. So let's just click add. This button, your groups will not be updated dynamically. So this is one of the important parameters, and you have to turn this to. Let's say you have created hundreds of groups with this auto resolve membership false option. What you're going to do? So one of my customers did actually, and they don't want to change this parameter by one. So we actually created and modify custom group script for them and modified all of the custom groups. So these cases will help you to, provide solutions faster and easily. And the most important thing, as you can ask, is the resource kind. So what you will group under this custom group. I want to group virtual machines under this prod VMs custom group. And of course, the adapter is the VMware. This is the very well known. And the other important things, so how you will group to the VMs. You can use tags, you can use names, you can statically, group custom VMs. But in our case, I want to, group VMs according to their tags in vCenter. I have a tag category called environment, and I have a tag called prod, and I want to create prod VMs custom group according to these tags. And the compare operator, of course, is the important one. It can be contains, it can be is, but is will be converted into EQ here, like this. If you wanna exactly say match this tag, you have to use something like EQ, but that is not the case here. So let's say we have defined the name, we have defined the object, we have defined the condition rules, and we are good to go, right? And we have defined our authorization header as well. So let's just, click send and see what happens. So 201, it says the object created successfully. And this is the ID of our custom group, and this is the prod VMs, and this is created according to our needs. And now let's jump back to vRops and see what happened, if it is successful or not. Yeah, here now we can see the prod VMs custom group is created, and it is grayed out, so it will take a little bit time to be healthy. And let's just click edit group and see what are the options here. So this was the environment group type that we have defined, and this was name prod VMs, and we said keep group membership up to date, and we said group virtual machines according to vSphere tag, and it should contain environment tag category and prod tags. So it is basically the Postman did the same thing as we've done in manually. So if you look here, and we got 3 VMs. So this is one thing, but in this way, I mean, using Postman, you should actually, you can actually create one custom group. But what if, as I said, you have a couple of them? So you should turn this into a code block. And Postman has a nice feature here called code. If you click code here, and you will see a bunch of programming languages, and whatever you are familiar with, you can use, you can leverage. I am now using the PowerShell, but let me walk you through. You have C, C Sharp, Go, I mean Java, if you wish, and PowerShell and Python, which is the most popular one. So what I'm doing here is I'm just copying this code block, and that's all. I'm just copying this and going to my PowerShell and finding my create custom group script, and I'm just pasting it. You know, this is the same thing, but it is converted into PowerShell. So this is the headers, content type, except, and this is the body, the credentials that I have defined, and this is the actually the suffix that I put in my Postman, and this is the method. So with these informations, I can easily, I can easily get the token. So let's try just one by one. If you run this, yeah, I got the token, and I have assigned that token to a token variable. Let's just run the token variable, and yeah, here's the token I got. And let's go back to custom group. We are doing the same thing, basically the same thing. Just click code, copy it, and paste it in your PowerShell. And this is the, as I call third part here. Yeah, here it is. Let me scroll down a little bit. Exactly the same body, exactly the same headers, and exactly the same suffix and method post. Here you can see it. So what I've changed here, I have just added some parameters to, create a couple of applications loops. So I just added a for loop here. I just added the for loops. Uh, if you have hundreds of tags, it will actually get all the tags one by one, and according to that tags, it will create custom groups one by one again. So for the name, I'm not now using a starting name, I'm using value. This is the tag of, this is just one name of the tag, and key is the container. Key is the, container type environment that I have defined, that we have defined in the Postman method as well. And the most important thing is here, we are using, of course, summary tag. It should contains, but now we are defining here a key value. So if you define in this way, you will create hundreds of custom groups easily. And what are the tags here? I am just using two tags. It is, one is prod and one is test. When I click this, it will create two custom groups, and it will actually include the prod and test VMs. So that is all actually. And let's just click, and one more thing, sorry. And this is just getting the text from a text file, but this can be anything, you know. And let me show you something. And you can actually connect to your vCenter and get your tags and assign it to a text variable and use that text variable in this script. So you can actually do a lot of things. I just want to keep the things basic in this demo. So let's just run it and see what happens. I just click run, and voila, that's done. Let me go back to vROPS and let's just refresh. Yep. And now we have prod, and we have test VMs. I haven't created them one by one, and in the previous screen, you were only seeing prod VMs here. So let's just click the test one here. Prod is the same. Let's click edit, and the same things here, virtual machine and vSphere tag, and it contains environment test. All you can do is this. So you can, as in this way, you can create hundreds of groups, I can say, and you can modify them. We have modify method as well, and you can delete them, all of them at the same time. I mean, we have method for them. So this will make you things easier. And you can actually ask one question. Okay, we just copied the body, I mean, by creating custom groups, but how we can know that, I mean, there are a couple of options here for the custom groups. So I don't know where to put EQ compare operator here. It is just writing is in vRops, you know. So the best way is actually, what I suggest is create a sample group manually, okay? And after that, define all the parameters you want. Let's just jump back. I'm sorry. I don't want to lose time with that. Yeah, let's just create sample custom group and put all the options you want. I mean, put one option here, and then you can add another criteria, and you can have another group type here, and put all of the options and create it. Once you create it, and go back to Postman and use the get custom groups parameter. This is the same, as you can see. This is actually will be the same API resources groups, and let's click on it, and API resources groups. And this method does not require any request body, and the options, the headers are the same, exactly like the create custom groups. So once you run this, let's run this, by the way. And this will get you all the custom groups you created manually or automatically, all the custom groups in vRops. And you can actually, let's find prod custom group here. Yeah, I just missed it. Yeah, here is the prod custom group, you know, and you can actually copy this body from get custom groups, and then use this body in your, sorry for that, in your create custom groups method. That's all. And you don't have to know all of the parameters. You don't have to know what to define here. Just get all the custom groups, find the one you wanted to create a couple of times, and then use it. So that's it. You know, as you see, these are the same: resource kind, adapter kind, and key, and compare operator contains, and it will be maybe not contains something. And the only thing you will miss is the string value, but the string value, right? While you're creating custom group, it will automatically gets you the string value. The only exception is the value here, and that's all. This is how we are actually creating custom groups via Postman and via PowerShell. If you have any questions, I can answer them, or I'm gonna now switch to Network Insight side, and I wanna show you a couple of examples. Let me open my session and presentation. Yeah. And if you don't have any questions, let's continue with the Network Insight. So Network Insight, we have a link to API documentation. Just use it again if you want to use directly. If you want to use directly, just / and /API URL. And if you want to reach from inside of it, just click settings and API documentation. It will directly gets you to the this API Explorer screen. And we have again filter methods for REST APIs, and you can search for, if you want to create applications, now we will create applications in our case. And if you want to export some rules for microsegmentation, and if you want to automatically export it and import it to NSX, you can actually search for the method for the exporting that rules in Network Insight API. So this is just it. Rest of the work will be in demo site. And I have, again, a couple of methods for network insight. So first things first, we need token again. So this is the first thing we have to do. And content type, again, will be application JSON. We are working with application JSON and body. So, you know, not exactly, but it is actually like the VROps token method, username, password, and domain type. So how you can reach it? Let's jump to Network Insight API. Hope it doesn't expire. Let's click settings and let's click API documentation. And yes, we have now Network Insight API. It will take a little bit of time. And then we'll search for the token method. After that, we will search for the applications method. And we will exactly do the same thing. We will get the token and we will create application, and then we will create the application tier in Network Insight, because you know in Network Insight the applications have tiers, and tiers have application I mean tier members. Let's say we have the mobile app, and mobile app has two tiers. Let's say web and DB, and web tier has 2 VMs, and let's say DB has 3 VMs. And we want to actually create this scenario. So I don't have to search for this because I'm seeing the authentication method here. And all I need is the post auth token method, because it says create an auth token. So I'm just expanding it, and it has some implementation notes. These are the important ones. You can actually you can read them if you're not familiar with this interface. And this is the response that we should expect. We will have token, and we will have expiry. That expiry date in milliseconds. You should turn this into date time format if you want. But the most important thing is the body here, request body. It is actually specified here, and you can always, while you're using Network Insight API, you can look for here parameters and data type section. So you can copy this, and you can change the credentials, and we can actually get token via Postman. Let's switch back to Postman and do the same thing. So I have the credentials here, I have the headers, and the most important thing, you should add after API, NI, Network Insight auth token. Please do not forget to put NI here. And this is causing issues and maybe annoying sometimes. So we got all the things in place, and if you click send, yep, we got the token for the Network Insight as well. So we will use this token for the rest of the methods. Second thing we are going to do is adding an application. Adding an application is an easy thing. Let me show you the application method. So it is just creating the application name, the logical container. So create an application and groups, applications. Just click on applications. And again, this is the response class. This is not the request body. Please be aware of it. Do not use this in your request body. It will cause you some errors. And this is actually the request body. And if you, this lets you to click on it because you can run these methods here as well, but this is not effective. I suggest you to use Postman. You can use this for 1 or 2 times, but Postman is more easier than this one. So all we had to do is to define application name, and that's it. So let's say we copied this and we put this here, my tier app. And what we haven't done is to add authorization. So you should add authorization, but this time it should be Network Insight space and the token. Let me put the token that I got. And yeah, content type application JSON. We have body in place, we have headers, we have authorization header, and we can actually send. So the my three-tier app has been created, and this is the ID. The IDs are important, and I should add it in the VROps and in networking side and login side. We mostly and we mostly work with IDs because a name, you know, we have two VMs has the same name, but you should get ID if you want to get a property, a metric, or an event of an object. So metrics are important, IDs are important, and as I said, I want to create tiers and members for this application, my three-tier app. I will need this ID, and we are going to use this ID while creating the tiers. But quickly, let's jump back to Network Insight and see that applications is created or not. My three-tier app. I just expect to see its name here. Yes, now I have my three-tier app, but I have no tiers, no members. I'm gonna add some tiers now, and then I'm gonna look inside that tiers that it gets the VMs or not. So to create the application tiers, we need something like this. Groups, applications, ID, and tiers. So we can find it in our API Explorer easily under the application grouping. We have created applications. We are searching for post methods, and these are not the things that I wanted because I want to create tier and application. So it says create tier and application, and I found the method that I wanted, but it says groups, applications, but ID, you need the ID. That is why I mentioned the application ID and /tiers. Again, this is the request response body, but our request body is here. So we should define a tier name. It should be like web tier, app tier, or DB tier, and the membership criteria. So in membership criteria, I'm gonna use the virtual machine name. And for the filter, I'm not gonna use any secret group entity ID or something. I'm gonna use exactly the name of the virtual machine itself. Let's switch back to Postman, and I want to show you the body of it. Yeah, I called the tier as app tier, and membership criteria entity type will be virtual machine, and name will be the Arc. This is one of the VMs in our demo vCenter. So I have the, maybe I don't have the token. Let's just copy the token because it is important. I think this is expired. I have done a couple of hours ago. Let's just copy the token here. And let's just update our authorization header. And that's okay. Let's look our body, and it is okay as well. We have talked about it. All we have to do is create and send the request. It will create app tier inside my tier app. Let's just click send. Oops. I haven't found because I think this is because of ID. It hasn't found ID because that is my previous presentation. Let me switch back to add application site. Let's copy this ID. It is ending with 63. And let's just copy. Yeah, it is ending with 96. It is because of ID. If you face with errors like this, just check the ID of it because all of them is the same. Let's just click send. And yes, again, it is created. So we now have the app tier in under our application. So we can check where the interface now it has no tiers. Let's change. Let's refresh it. Yeah, now we have one tier, and let's just click edit to see if you have the VM or not. And here this is the app tier, this is the member, and VM search, and this is the name of the VM. And if you click VM, it will get Arc VM under app tier. So this is the hard way of doing things a little bit, but it will make you understand how the things are working in vRNI, because we have an option called Power vRNI, and that's created by Martin Smith, and it is actually using the Network Insight API. It is leveraging it. So it's, let's say, it's created PowerShell modules of Network Insight. So I mean, if you have any questions regarding that, I mean, VROps, Network Insight, or Log Insight, you can actually reach out to your TAM and ask for the information, or you can request information that you want, or you can reach out to me if you wish, and we will be happy to help you. And for this, we have created application, and we have created application tier using Postman. So let's just create the PowerShell code block of it. And all we have to do is exactly the same thing that we have done in the done for vROps. So click on the code block, copy the token, and click on the add application method, click codes, and copy this method as well. And last thing, and you should copy the application tier method as well. And after that, let's just take a look at it. After copying this one, we are good to go. Let's go back to our vRNI application script. And I just want to walk you through. So we have, as you can see, now get token method first, the body, the same body, and the headers. And this is coming from copying the code block, but you can actually delete this. This is not actually important. And this is the authentication token URL. And this way, we will get vRNI token. So the first thing is this. And the second thing that we have done in Postman is the creating an application. And the content type, accept, and authorization. Authorization is the same, Network Insight space vRNI token. That is, I'm using the variable here. And the body is, the application will be a different one, PowerShell delete your app, so that we can actually see the difference. And the groups, Network Insight, groups, applications, post methods. Once we run this, it will create the application. And as I said before, we need the application ID. So I got the response here. All I have to do is an entity ID. So I'm gonna assign this entity ID to an application ID variable, and I'm gonna use that application ID variable while creating an application tiers, as we have done in the Postman. So, and this is not a complicated thing. Once you got the response, I mean, you can actually run this and you can see what are the other properties of these response. So you can leverage them as well if you wish. You can have the name, you can have the creation time, or the who created this application. You can have this kind of information in this create application response. So let's switch back to create application tier code block. So list applications and show applications are not the case, so I'm not gonna spend too much time. The important thing is the create application tier. So we have defined accept, content type, and authorization headers. And the important thing is defining the request body. So again, I'm using the same membership criteria, and entity type virtual machine, and virtual machine name is Arc. And here I am using the vRNI FQDN, and vRNI tier will be, and I'm assigning whole URL to a vRNI tier, and I have to convert it into system URI, let's say, type, so that I can actually use it, invoke REST method. And that's all. This script will create an application called PowerShell Delete Your App, and inside we will have web tier, and the web tier will have one VM called Arc. So let's just run it. Okay. So I expect an application tier in networking side. Let's see what happens. Let's just click cancel. Yeah, now we have the PowerShell 3-tier app. Let's just click on it, and then see, yeah, we have web tiers, and inside we have VM name Arc. So that is actually how we are using networking sites via Postman and PowerShell. So I just have one little example for network inside. I just want to show it to you, and then we can have some questions. Let me switch to my login site. Yeah, here actually the login site REST API. If you put /REST API, you can reach the REST API documentation of login site, and you can search for the methods, for the options that you want to use. And for this, let's switch back to login site REST API section. I'm sorry. And yeah. So I have Vrops FQDN, login site FQDN, and I have REST API suffix, and it will directly get you to the API screen. And as you know, and it has a good page getting started with login site REST API, and you should, of course, and need authorization here. You need a token here as well, and then you can use other methods. So first things first, and for authorization, we have sessions option here, sessions method. So, and this API v1 sessions, this will actually provide us a token. So this is the body of the method. So this is the suffix. And once you run this with the credentials, it will get you some session ID. Then this session ID we will use while trying to get some information from login site. And so let me go back to my Postman and login site collection. Let's just click get token. And here you're seeing my credentials, and we have the API version 1 session suffix, and as header, I don't have. So that's okay. And if you click send here, you will have token, session ID, and you have to copy this session ID for the other methods. And what we will do here is I want to actually get events, nothing more than 7 days, but the events should, contain reconfigured events, and that reconfigured events directly must come from vCenter server. So what I mean is, I'm just looking for reconfigured events, and at name, actually this is the name that event's coming. So I'm just searching for the vCenter server, reconfigured events, and it should be last 7 days. Let's search and see if there's any events. Yeah, I have 13 events here. Let's say I want to, yeah, we can actually create an alarm. We can actually send an email, but how we can actually trigger something? And I don't want to send an email and parse that email. So you can actually leverage login site API. You can search exactly the event that you wanted. And after getting that event, if that event exists, you can trigger something else. So this is one case. And how we can get these events via the login site API. So, we have an option called events. So that events, we need suffix API version 1 events. I'm gonna, sorry, I'm gonna take that events one by one. And so I am searching for that events option, but not the aggregated ones. I don't want to get aggregated events. I don't want to sum it up or count that events. I'm just using the events itself. I just need the events itself. What I mean is this one, API version 1 events. So I want to get events that contains not error, but reconfigured. So that is the first thing we should, be aware of. So if you wanna search for something, contains or matches or something, you should define like this: contains, percent, and 20 and error. What is this? And this is the URL encoded form of space, and this is the text, and this is the how we define the search. And as I said, I want events for last 7 days. So how I can define it? So I need a timestamp. We have timestamp option. So with this timestamp option, I can define the times. So again, we have some URL encoded forms here. As you can see, this %3e means greater than, and this is actually the time in milliseconds. Again, you cannot actually define times like a date time format, but you should convert them into milliseconds. And the last thing that I've done for my query in Postman, I've just added one more, let's say, property. It is not timestamp, it is app name. And I said app name, sorry, let's go back to app name contains vCenter server, and please get me my events. So let's go back to get events page here. Yeah, this is the thing that I have done. So this can be older, but not important. We want to focus the rest of the URL. I'm defining timestamp %3e, and this is the milliseconds date time value, and slash again, text slash contains URL encoded space. I'm searching for reconfigured events and slash, and I'm searching for app name, but that app name should contain the vCenter server. So this is again the URL encoded space. And I just have a sitting query, and that is actually provide some simple view for us to understand better. So you can actually use this simple view in your queries, or you can remove it and see what happens. So I got the session ID, but I haven't actually provided any authorization. So while I'm creating authorization header, you should use better in front of the token and space, and then you should actually put your token, and that's it. If you run this, I think you should get some reconfigured errors coming from vCenter. Yeah. So now we have some reconfigured events, and these are coming from our vCenter. You can see app server name vCenter, and we have that reconfigured events here. So how we can create the script? Same thing. I don't want to click this again. Just click code for these 2 events and copy and paste it to PowerShell. Yeah, here it is. First thing is getting token, body credentials, and content type, and the methods itself, API version 1 sessions. This will get the token. And the second thing that we should do, providing the get events, is defining the authorization header, content type text plain. It is not important. You can actually skip this part as well. Once, if you copy this is coming automatically. And the last thing is actually this query. This is the URL. So these are the same. App name vCenter. I mean, text contains the configured, but this is different. Timestamp has some variable, and this is a dynamic one. That's that is the important thing. What I am doing here is I'm just getting date, get date, and for the last 7 days, I'm adding just -7, and I'm turning that date into milliseconds, and that's all. So I'm saying that I want to have events for the last 7 days via this. So, and all I have to do is just run this script and get the events, and the last part will just have the VM name or the object name and the timestamp string of the events. Let's just run and see if there's any event we can get.
Ramazan, just while you do that, do the passwords have to be in clear text?
You can actually turn them into secure string. I just want to skip that part for this thing, James. But you can actually, we have a couple of options for the in PowerShell, so you can use secure strings. And I actually suggest secure strings, but this is a sample demo, so I don't want to complicate things, and I will do all the things.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have run this, and as you can see, we got the events, right? And let's just check the last one. We have the configured cluster for our data center, and this is directly coming from app name vCenter server. That is what we wanted. So in this way, we got the events using the login site API, and these are the names and the timestamps of the events. And this can be visually, this can be more visual, but at this sample, for this sample, and I just keep things really simple. So you can, what I want to say is you can actually take the names, take the timestamps and the events itself, and you can trigger whatever you want, or you can actually send another notifications. Basically, that concludes my demo site. So we actually...
Well done, Ramazan. Yep, that was great. We do have a question from Varghese. So can we use the REST API for doing a mathematical calculation, perhaps on a specific metric in VROPS? So, I think what we're thinking is standard deviation or average CPU metric, because, as you'll know, these aren't an operator available in Supermetrics, are they? I don't think.
Yeah. Actually, we can have it. Yeah. If you got the metrics, for the object, for a couple of objects, we can make all the mathematics here, and with the PowerShell we have a bunch of options, or we can use Python, and Python has a lot of options for the mathematical calculations, a lot of easy libraries for the end users. So yeah, we can leverage that option as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for this, the REST API side, please, reach out to your TAM and ask the questions you want. And of course, you can reach out to me as well. And if you wish, and we can provide you the solutions that will work for you.
Thank you very much, Ramazan. And thanks very much, everybody, for attending today. I'll just hit stop on the recording. That was a great session.
Yeah.